You know what really pisses me off? Fucking crackheads. I'm not talking about crack babies or people who can't help the situation they're in. If someone's fucked up and it's not their own fault, I am not by any means talking about them. I'm talking about the crackheads that at one point had potential, but through the abuse of chemicals, they are now brain-dead idiots. This video is going to be a little different than previous videos. This is going to be a little bit more like story time. I'm going to relate a few stories from past experiences that I've had with crackheads. Feel free to comment below any experiences that you've had with a crackhead in the past. Everyone loves story time. Ugh. So yeah, onto the stories. When I was stationed in Virginia, I had this neighbor. He was an absolute crackhead. In hindsight, I guess actually a lot of my neighbors in that housing area were crackheads. In fact, I think I may have been living in the bad part of town. But since at the time I knew nothing about the area, I had no idea back then. Anyhow, I had this car. It was a 1971 Torino in near mint condition. I had just pulled out the old engine and had rebuilt an engine to go back into it. I had all of the front end components like the alternator, radiator, fan, belts, all that nonsense. All that stuff pulled out and put in the trunk or in the back floorboard of the car. There was no point in locking the doors as there was nothing of any real value in the car and it clearly couldn't be driven off because, no engine and all. Anyhow, I was in my house, it was weekend, and I was off work. At the time I was in the military and I worked really long hours. My weekends were glorious, spent either sleeping or fucking off or tinkering with that damn car. Anyhow, my roommate was in the kitchen, probably getting liquor, and he notices out the window my neighbor going through the crap in the back of my car. So he tells me. I get up, I go to the door, and as I get to the door, the doorbell rings. So I open the door, and it's my crackhead neighbor standing there with my alternator in his hand. He's all, "Hey man, that's your car, right? I got this alternator that fits that car." So I go, "Yeah, that does fit my car. It fits perfectly, because you just took it out of that car." You can see his little drug-addled hamsters trying their damnedest to turn the burned-out rusty hamster wheel in his head, and then a wave of satisfaction washes over him as he comes up with the perfect excuse. "No, dude, I saw someone in your car trying to take this. I was just returning it." He was visibly pleased with his response. So I step outside, we walk over to the car, and I open the door. I point inside the back seat and tell him to put my shit back where he got it from, and that I was going inside, calling the cops, and he was going to jail. As I walked back toward the house, he pleaded with me not to call the cops, and I basically ignored him. I never did call the cops because 1, I'm lazy, and 2, my cell phone charged me 25 cents a minute, and fuck that. Also, this same neighbor once came to the fence in my backyard while we were having a bit of a get-together. He asked me if he could use my shed. When I asked why, he said it was to store a few weed eaters. I asked how many is a few, and he tells me only 14 or so. Since this dude, as far as I'm aware, never worked a day in his life, and he likely wouldn't even know how to start a weed eater, I assumed they were stolen, so I told him no. Fucking crackheads. Another interesting event involving a crackhead was during my time working at AutoZone. There was this crackhead that would at least 3 times a week show up, pick up a few pieces of paper out of the parking lot, and then expect us to pay him for his hard work. The last time he did it, he asked for $20. We not only told him no, but we also told him to fuck off and not come back, or we would ban him from the store property. So this fucking dick goes in the bathroom and shits all over the floor. Then he proceeds to rub shit all over the walls, mirror, and sink. We call the cops and a biological waste cleaning company who had to come out and clean crackhead shit off the walls for 3 fucking hours. We never saw him again during the time I worked there, and I would bet he's never been back there at all. Fucking crackheads. Since that time, I've started my own business in computer repairs, and I have the privilege of dealing with crackheads now as an owner. They never cease to amaze. About once a month or so, this same crackhead comes to the store, opens the door, leans halfway in, and asks, "Can I get 13 cents for a can of sardines?" What? What the fuck? He knows the answer. Hell, he doesn't even come all the way in. He just opens the door and half leans in to ask for 13 cents. What the fuck? Now I know that if you ever give a crackhead money, you just fucked up. You will have to deal with that motherfucker for the rest of your life. So I just tell him each time to piss off. I don't have any money. Not even change. He grumbles and then he pisses off. To the next store. But seriously, who the fuck asks random strangers for 13 cents? Fucking crackheads. Last story of the day. A few days ago, it was time to go home. I was closing up the store and locking the doors, and this crackhead fucking magically manifests behind me. Like I did not hear him, and then pow, right behind me. Which, by the way, is a great way to get shot. So anyways, this crackhead is standing there behind me, twitching and shaking and shit with $2 in his hand. He goes, "Can you go across the road and get me some smokes?" Now this dude is clearly in his 30s. He's not some 14-year-old trying to get a pack of cigarettes. So I'm like, "Dude, what? No. What? Why? No, what?" So he explains to me that all he needs is a pack of cigarettes, and he has the money. Now first of all, he has $2. Well, what the fuck kind of cigarettes can you get for $2? None? Basically none. And second, what he just referred to as a street is a fairly major and incredibly busy road in this city, particularly during closing time. And I've seen in the past year 3 crashes in the area in front of my store, one of which was fairly fucking major. People speed through, and there's no way in hell I'm gonna walk across that shit. Not for myself, and damn sure not for a total fucking crackhead stranger. So I'm like, no dude, I'm not gonna go over there, I have shit to do, fuck off. Then he tells me he can't go over there because he's not allowed in that store. I'm thinking, what the fuck? If you aren't allowed on their property, I sure as hell don't want you on my property, get the fuck out of here. So anyhow, he keeps reassuring me that he has the money, which I can clearly see in his hand, and that all he needs is a pack of cigarettes. So I tell him, man, I don't even smoke, and I don't approve of people who do. Then I take a big hit off of my e-cigarette and walk to the car all superior and shit. Fuck crackheads. This video is going... bleh. Feel free to comment below any stuffed into the fuck. At the time I was in the my winking fuck. This fits your car, right? Or fuck. Damnedest to faction washes over him, and then a fuck me. A few weed eaters. Fucking cat. Quit it, cat. Crashes in this area, and they fuck. And I don't even fuck.